For me,
going good.
I don't have, yeah, I don't have those blocks. I have no blocks about money, you know. It's abundant, it's for everyone. There's plenty out there for everybody.
All right, we got Miss Violet Moran in from Whittier, California. I've known her for a couple of years. She's an awesome real estate investor, an entrepreneur. I've actually met her family, and she actually has her family in the business too, which I want to talk about that too, because I got some kids that are coming up. They're in their teenage years, and I'm like, how do I get you to want to do what I do? Because right now they don't. Um,
Right.
but welcome to the
Oh,
podcast.
well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here today.
Awesome, awesome.
Yes.
So, do you want to do a quick intro of yourself?
Yes, definitely.
Sure.
My name is Violet Moran. I'm a luxury real estate investor. And I've been doing, this full time for about 8 years now, but I've been in real estate investing for about 2 decades, off and on. I started way before the last recession in 2007, 2008. And I was doing it differently then. I was, buying the houses and renting them by bedroom. And that's the way I would make up for the mortgages. And I would hold them for a period of time, then I would sell them or refi and do it all over again. And so yeah, so in real estate for the last 25 years.
You would buy the house and put and rent the rooms out by room?
Yeah, room by room. And then what I would do at the time, I would also convert the garages and rent those out. And then I would end up cash flowing, maybe between 500 and $1,000. And after I paid the mortgage and the bills, and I would have 5 or 6 houses at a time.
Wow. Okay.
Kind of
So,
like a pad split idea of what they're doing now,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
You were pad split before there was pad split.
Yes, I didn't even know that there was a name for it until I heard that that's what's going on now.
So, how long have you been a business owner?
In flipping about 8 years. Yeah,
8 years. Okay.
yeah.
And what's the most amount of money you've made in 1 year?
About 2.5 million.
2.5 million, and it had to do with that $1 million
That
flip.
was the year that we had that one. And then we also sold, I think, like 4 or 5 other houses.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what is your goal for like the next 5 years? I don't even know how far out you project, but what would you be happy with becoming or doing 5 years from now?
So what I'm interested in, what I'm actually doing now is I'm also buying businesses or partnering up with people that bring value to create businesses. I would like to have about 7 or 8 different streams of income. Of course, the flipping business that we have very good profit margins from the flipping business, but I see myself maybe living part-time in the US and part-time in El Salvador and running some of this business remotely and having a better quality of life. And so that's my goal. Now, it's not so much a money goal at this point. I'm 49 years old. It's not so much a money goal, but a living a comfortable life while still making a really decent living, but also being able to work remotely.
Can you mind if I ask? I got curious. What did you say? Comfortable life. What are you looking for? Where's you said it's not money. So what is it?
Well, it is money, but it's not huge numbers, especially if I'm thinking of El Salvador, right? So if I can secure $300,000 a year, I would live such a comfortable life in El Salvador, right? If I can have incoming, I would live like a queen out there. A maid is paid $15 a day.
Not
You have
enough.
a full-time maid for $15 a day in El Salvador right now.
Ooh, so what would 300,000 be equivalent to in like LA money? The kind of life you could live. Can you even
Ooh,
do it
okay.
like
Oh,
that?
that's a good one. And 300,000 is it's a crazy number. I can live really comfortable in El Salvador for like 6, 7,000.
Wait, a year?
No, 6, 7,000 a month.
And so that's probably what, like 80, 90K?
Yeah.
So $100,000, you're living like a queen. Like what kind of like you got like a house on the beach? You have like
You have a house on the beach.
Lamborghinis? Like what do you
So
got?
So if you think about it, a $300,000 house, right? You can afford a $300,000 house if you're making $100,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
So you can afford that. The cost of living in El Salvador is so much less. I see my mom's water bill is like $8. The electric bill is $45. I know because I pay all these things. Um, yeah. And so the cost of living is so insanely low. And
Wow.
then the quality of life. My mom goes to the pier, the area where all the fresh fish is brought out and sold right then and there. You know, over there, there's no such thing as organic because everything is
It is
organic.
organic.
Yes. Right. So you can have just, I, I think, I'm not sure if that's why I say one thing, yeah, the money to live comfortable, but it's more the quality of life. Even the food, what you're putting in your body, it's so much healthier.
Interesting. Okay, that's a really cool conversation. So you get fresh food, organic food, fish right off the pier. I've heard those stories about the lobsters. They'll sell you lobsters and be like
Right.
$6. So you're like, I would have paid like, I don't know, $75 for just this one meal.
Right.
I got it for like $15. And you're just like, okay. So you can
And
live
when I go
really
to El
luxury.
Salvador, since I don't know the areas really well, and I don't have a license or whatever, I hire a driver. The driver's $20 a day. $20 a day.
For the whole day.
Mhm.
So you said $6,000 a month and you're living like you got like a really nice house, really nice cars, and all the luxuries like drivers and masseuses, and you're eating the best quality food for $6,000. You're making
Yeah.
me be like, what?
Maybe
My
you should
wife?
rethink this. If you can work remotely, imagine if you can make your US money that you're making now, and you live in a country like that, that right now, that, right, the safety is everything. I mean, there's so many beautiful places. I'll start sending you videos of the country and everything you can do there, and just your quality of life is so different.
Okay, because what I heard about Salvador was very dangerous, and these are real conversations I have with my wife. She's like, "Hey, let's go visit El Salvador." I'm like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to go there and we'd be at danger and or a gang roll through and like
There's no
take
gangs
my
anymore.
girls and kill me. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
a
no gangs
brother
anymore.
and
It
you
went from
know,
being the most
stick out
dangerous country to being the safest country. Per
like that.
capita, it's safer than the US.
The gangs don't run it anymore.
No, they're all in jail. There's 75,000 gang members in jail. It's illegal to even do a gang sign in the street. You go to jail.
Wow. Even in the rural areas?
They've cleaned up everything. They use military to go clean up everything.
Oh,
He
wow.
did he did a order a stay, and they went neighborhood by neighborhood by neighborhood. They've cleaned up everything. You can't see a gang member because they ran out of El Salvador like cockroaches too. He arrested a lot of them, but a lot of them left because they knew that they can't no longer live in El Salvador.
You might have you got me interested because I have a friend that's given his US citizen up to move to Dubai and he no longer has to pay taxes. He makes American money,
Mhm.
doesn't have to pay taxes, and he's living like these cheap. Dubai's where he wants to end up, but right now he's living like Bali, he's in Mexico, and just like tearing it up. So you're making me think like my wife had citizenship, I believe, so I can become a Salvador citizen and
Buy properties, do everything. And then if you're somebody, a US citizen coming to invest in the country, I think if you set up a business over there, there's no capital gains tax for you. Look it up. He just passed that.
oh, you might have changed my life so many different ways. I'm so glad I had you.
I know, this is why I want to invest in real estate over there. And because I am an American citizen, so I can prove how much money I make, I can qualify for loans to buy properties over there. And I actually have really technically good credit over there. There's not a credit system like there is here, but I've purchased a condo from my mom in La Libertad, which is really close to the beach. And we ended up paying it early, right? This was like 10, 15 years ago. And so the banks, I have excellent credit with them. They've told me I only need 5% down, I've actually am getting investor backing and they're telling me, go buy vacation rentals, right? Get into loans. We'll give you the down payment. Let's partner up. What are we doing? Let's go, you know? So,
Wow.
yeah.
All right. This is good. That's a bonus.
Yes, yes. So
Awesome.
I would have you start researching, go to Google, start researching everything that's going on in El Salvador. You will be amazed. You will be amazed. And how right now there's the JDP in El Salvador is 20% construction because a lot of people that left El Salvador, like myself as children, want to go back and invest and are going back and investing. And people even from outside, China's making, China always wants to buy everything, right?
Yep.
A lot of, investments are going on in El Salvador in the construction. They can't even keep up with the construction and real estate is going up. There's a bubble right now with real estate.
Good to know.
Oh, I know where you can start. Look at the interview with Tucker Carlson
Yep, I know him.
and Nayib Bukele.
Is he the president?
Yeah. Look at
Okay.
that so you understand what's happening over there now.
Will do. And I'll get back to you on what I learn. I appreciate that.
Yes, yes, yes. So really, really interesting stuff. So I see myself, that's kind of where I see myself navigating. I see a lot of things. I'm so grateful to this country. I mean, this is, of course, the American dream. I could have never done all this in El Salvador, especially with war and everything that was happening if I would have grown up over there. But then now I see so many things that are happening around us, that spiritually and morally, I just don't agree with.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Last two questions for you. This has been
Yes.
awesome. So,
Yes.
what is the best financial advice you've ever received?
Good question. It's so hard because it's not like I've had a financial conversation with somebody just like that. But, what I know is the best financial advice that I've ever heard is debt is good as long as it's for investing.
Good debt, like they
Good
say.
debt. Good debt. Yes.
So, bad debt is like credit card,
Credit cards for
auto loan.
personal. Yeah, I have none of that debt. All my debt is loans, and even if there's any credit card debt, it's because we invested on a property or we did this or we put it on, and that all comes back and you pay it right off. You know,
Okay.
and that's why that type of debt does not scare me.
Because you're gonna make money on that debt. This is debt to make that will bring in more income than the debt is costing, right?
Right, right.
Okay. And last question, what separates the poor and middle class from people with money, in your opinion?
Mentality.
Mindset?
Mhm.
What's the poor middle class mindset? And what's the rich, the people with money mindset?
It sounds so cliche and corny, but it is an abundance kind of mentality. Or it's what I've noticed is I've noticed that a lot of people that are not successful is because they have a lot of trauma and there's a lot of victimization going on. And so it's the poor me mentality. And if you don't grow from that, then you will always be poor you. Right. And so that to me is the number one thing that doesn't allow people to grow.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's awesome.
For
Go
me,
again.
I don't have, yeah, I don't have those blocks. I have no blocks about money, you know. It's abundant, it's for everyone. There's plenty out there for everybody. And I don't think money's evil. I think what you do with it or what your intention is, that's what's evil. Yeah. Yeah. So you've had money blocks?
Yeah, I mean, or I guess my thing is as, and this is where the whole Christian thing comes in because there's bad things taught, and you have this conception, and society paints the rich don't desire the riches, don't
Mhm.
desire to be, but it's like at the same time you have to think about it because there's so many. I don't know. Are you Christian at all?
Yes, I am. I'm Christian.
The richest person that lived the world was a Christian, was King Solomon. running business. You have the e-commerce business, and the Bible's filled with wealth principles. No, no, they're rich.
Mhm.
Not only rich, very rich.
Right.
So there's this stigma with
I
money.
think there's I'm really bad at verses, but I think there's a verse in the Bible and I don't know the right verbatim, but something about, it would be hard for a rich person to get in the doors of heaven. And I think that's been kind of
Yeah.
misconstrued
Yep. The
because
eye, it'll be easier for you to get through an eye of a pin or something like that. A camel
yes,
to get through
yes,
the
correct.
pin. Yeah.
And but I wonder what, I would like to read the whole thing. I have to find it and I want to read exactly if that, how like a conversation, they just take out a little piece of it and
Yep.
they just run with it. I would
Yes.
like to understand that better because I do believe, how can you help other people if you can't help yourself?
Exactly. If you're
You have
poor, you
abundance,
can't
then
help
now you,
anybody.
right. Yeah. I help a lot. I help my family, I help people around us, and help doesn't also necessarily just come from money.
Money.
It comes in support and advice and wishing well for other people. So I don't understand that. I don't understand, the money thing. And I think it comes from when people abuse it or it's greed and you're sacrificing people's well-being for the money. Yeah.
Yep. And I guess for me, my block was like, I don't feel like I deserve to be
Oh,
a multimillionaire. Like my worth wasn't, it was such a foolish way to think like millionaire. Like I want to be a millionaire, but I don't, isn't going to happen for me. And to be honest with you, I'm still chasing millionaire status. Like I really I used to kind of like not want to tell people, hey, I want to be a millionaire. Like I want to, and I feel bad. Like people like, oh,
there's shame there for saying that.
how ridiculous
And
is
it's a
it?
subconscious thought. So when you
Yeah.
have subconscious thoughts like that, it's really good to bring them up forward and question them, right? Why do I think this way? Why do I
Hmm.
feel that way? I deserve this. I work really hard. I'm doing creative things. I'm taking risks that nobody else is doing to be able to do this, right? But then also I've noticed that the things that come true for me and I get even more blessings is the intention of the reason why I'm doing it,
Hmm.
right? I think intentionality is everything. There's something, I'm doing my tea time now, but with time, I also want to go. I have an idea. I want to go to grocery stores in the areas that are more challenged and just randomly go and pay groceries for people,
And
right?
like record it for content.
Yes, at the beginning, and I've done it before, and I don't record it, because I don't like doing things and showing them, oh, look at what I'm doing, right? It's like flaunting
Right.
that I'm
Look
giving.
at me.
Yes, I don't want to do that, but I remember meditating on it, and I remember a voice telling me, it's not to show off, it's more to be inspiration to
Yes.
other people to do the same,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
so
so
good.
yes, it's more to be an inspiration. If you know how people sometimes they pay for the person in the back, right? In,
Yep.
in a drive-through or
Yeah.
whatever. You can do the same thing with groceries and in challenged areas. And, I can take money and donate it to an organization, but administratively, by the time it reached the actual person is very little.
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of that. So what a way to help people directly if
Yeah.
it's not when they're out spending and trying to buy groceries for their family. If you
Hmm.
pay for that, if it's 300, $400, can you imagine what else they can do with that money that they needed to do? Or
Yeah.
maybe during school time when people are out at the shoe store trying to buy shoes for their kids for back to school, right? And you pay for that, things like that would definitely help people like right then and there.
You said something about and about when you're talking about, hey, I want to give people pay for groceries and record it.
Mhm.
And I think the key word is your intention.
Right,
Some people will give money, like the Pharisees, to give money to be seen.
right.
Look at me, I'm great. But you're doing it to like help these people.
Right.
And you're recording it because it's going to inspire other people to
Do
maybe
the same.
give something as well.
Right.
And if you put something in there like you mentioned, I'm a Christian, or you mentioned God bless you, or something, that could be a seed planted for someone to get saved down the line. So I love it.
Yes.
What's your intention behind it? Is it you
Right.
seeking glory, or is it God,
Right.
or is it helping? And your
And
intentions
then
are pure.
and then the Lord uses people to help, right? And
Mhm.
I don't know if in whatever situation I come in into people's life, maybe the Lord is using me. I want him to use me. I want to do the Lord's work. Maybe the Lord is using me to go help out those people at that moment.
Yep,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, so good. So good.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go.
That's
Wow, I'm not
intentionality.
huh?
Intentionality.
Yeah, where's your heart at?
Yeah.
What were you being guided towards? And we need to pay attention to that because you'd be like, you ever get like a feeling like, ooh, I need to give this, or I need to do this, or I need to tithe this, or where'd that come
Like
from?
like that idea about doing this consistently, paying for groceries, putting it out there, that is weighing on me a lot. Like I need to hurry up. Like I hear it. I need to hurry up. I need to do this. And I want to see how I can tie tea time into that. And because I do have a lot of entrepreneur friends, or there's only so much I can do of that from my pocket. Imagine if I have entrepreneur friends also helping out for the cause. How much more can we give?
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yep, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So yeah.
you don't have any blocks in your mind about making money, getting rich, and faith. You don't
Oh,
have that, right?
no, no, not really. I've gotten closer to the Lord. Michael and we got baptized last year. I
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did. I was born into a family that was Catholic, and I was baptized Catholic. But then my mom changed religions when I was like 10 years old. So I never did my first communion in the Catholic religion, and she changed to Christianity. But then my brother was like, well, she's not here or there. And he took me to a school that were teaching me Bible study, but it was Jehovah Witnesses. I was all over the place. And so I just did this. I gave up, right? And so as an adult, I started going to church, and I love the teaching, the way the Christian church teach the word, because they
Mhm.
put it to everyday examples of life
Mhm.
versus, with Catholic, it's more like just reading the scripture, and everything's bad and everything's evil and you're going to get punished and it's a sin. And I know I'm aware of sin,
Yeah,
but there's also God is not just the punishing God, he's a loving God, right? And so I really gravitated to the teaching of Christianity. But before any religion, I have a relationship with the Lord.
there you go. That's it. You already know. That's
Yeah,
what's up.
yeah, yeah. So
Beautiful.
you're a Christian too?
Yeah, I grew up in church. I grew up, my whole family Baptist. So I grew up going to Sunday school. I grew up in church and throughout high school. And I ain't gonna lie, like I went my own way. Even being saved, I gave my life to the Christ. And when I was about 14, 15 years old, at a church, got saved, got baptized. And I just decided to go and into the world, and I always get pulled back, go here, and I'll always just pull it back. And I guess probably over the last when I started say, all right, God, this the way I'm doing it ain't working. And I was probably in my 30s now.
Mhm.
My life came into order. Real estate lined up. And I started blessing it. I started making really, really good money. And if you're not careful, you start to believe your own thing, think it's you.
Right.
You got for
And
me
then and then
going
you
from
get humbled really quick.
you get yes. And when I started praying, I was dating the wrong kind of girl. Start saying, "All right, God, what you got for me?" My wife appeared.
Ah.
So every time I like come back, and I don't want to leave, I
Mhm.
want to stay. You know what I mean? So, um, it is. What's funny is like I'm starting to find my assignment
Mm.
from God, like what I don't want to do what I want to do. I want to do what God wants me to do. And if it's real estate and having podcasts like this, I'm feeling like this is what he wants me to do. Is because people, I don't care if one person hears this and they're like, this God thing, this Christian thing, these people look really happy. They're making money. I like what they're saying. This God thing, I don't know. If one person just goes and gets saved, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Maybe this
Right.
podcast is it. I'm telling you, I don't have a name for the podcast. I'm just being called, like you're being called to like go give
Yeah.
them groceries.
And it's like an urgency kind of thing. It's like an
Yeah.
urgency kind of call.
It
Yeah.
keeps coming back to me.
Yes.
I keep doing podcasts and I stop. Why am I back here again? Real estate. I was in real estate and I stopped.
Mhm.
Now I'm back. And when I'm in it, it's blessed. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm great. You know what I mean? Like so I'm just trying to listen to what God wants me to do and do it.
Yeah.
It's because I if I do it my way, I'm gonna be on the street, poor, broke, sad, with the wrong people and doing the wrong things. I ain't gonna lie. I have done the wrong my way and been run. Now I just try, man. I ain't got. I'm 45 years old. I know. I'll be lucky to get another 45. I want it to count. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. You have your family, you have your wife, you have your business. So many things to be grateful for, right?
So many things.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, this has been wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has. It
Thank you for
has.
having me.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna end it for real. We've stopped and started like 4 times.
Okay, okay. No.
So awesome. So
Yeah.
bring me back. Like, how were you able to buy houses? Because you're in LA this whole time. It's not cheap in LA. I guess 20 years ago. No, 20 years ago was still not cheap. So how did you get the money? Does your family come from money at all, or did you like
No,
earn it, or
no,
like
no,
how'd it
no,
work?
no, not at all. Not at all. So I am an immigrant. I immigrated to the US when I was 6 years old. We're from El Salvador. I was born in El Salvador.
Oh,
Yeah, didn't speak the language. When we got here, my mom, worked two jobs. I didn't get to see my mom from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So she would leave before I woke up and she would come back when I would be sleeping. And so that type of family, my father died when I was 4, and that's the reason why my mom left the country to be able to provide for us. And then 2 years later, she brought us to the US. And so, and not for money at all. The way I got started is I got married young. I got pregnant when I was 19. I got married at 20, right before I had the baby. And I remember, and I always worked really hard. I've never had just one job. I've always had like two or three jobs. Even
mm,
before I had kids, even before I had responsibility. I liked money or
yeah.
I like being able to provide. And I think now that I'm an adult, I think it comes from a deep-seated fear of not having enough, from seeing my sister struggle, from seeing my mother struggle. So I wanted to always have more than enough. And I
Hmm.
think that's kind of where that comes from for me.
That
So
drives you.
yeah, so since I was really young, I always hard worker, workaholic, some of my friends call me. And I remember when I was 22, I think, we lived in an apartment in Temple City, California, and it was a big complex building. And I remember the apartment, when we moved in, it looked decent and everything. Once we moved in, we realized that there was a ton of cockroaches, the little ones. And they were so disgusting. And I was so disgusted. And I would put traps and kill them and foggers and do the whole thing. And they would still come because from the neighboring apartment.
Neighbors, yeah.
And I remember I was so disgusted. I saved up from my jobs that I had and I bought my first condo. And I think I was about to be 23. I was still 22.
Wow.
Bought my condo in Montebello, right across the street from the Montebello Mall. And I remember at that time, I think I bought the condo for 95,000. And it was a two bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. They were both en suites. And it was so much nicer. And that's how I got into real estate for the first time.
Let's go. More.
So for example, on my Vista flip, I bought it for 1.2, putting in 600,000. We're at 1.8. Let's say holding cost, right? And fees, another 200,000. But we have an appraisal that we can sell it for at least 2.7. In order for me to make that 700,000, I don't mind paying all day long 12%.
Because that's going to be like a drop in the bucket to your profit.
So if I have to, just on interest and fees, if I pay an extra 100,000, but I get to bring home that 600, let's go.
So you're finding good deals. It sounds like you're able to find these good deals with these massive profits. That's not the problem. You just need the gap funding and the liquidity. You can find these deals. Are these deals just hard to find?
Not for
They're
me.
just sitting on the MLS.
No,
hanging out.
These are off market. So the way in my area, the way we've been so successful is we have great relationships with agents. And the deal I make with them, you bring me the deal, you get to make money when I purchase it, and then I list it with you on the exit.
Do you
and they
pay
bring
them?
deals all the time.
So typically they get like 3%. Do you pay them more than 3% to bring it to you?
And typically the before, when you used to have to pay buyer fees and selling fees, the average is 6%. For whole 6%, 3 and 3, right?
Yeah.
3 and 3. And so, but my deal with them was on the exit, I don't do the 6%. I do 4.5.
4.5 instead of
So
6, right?
yeah. So one gets 2.5 and the other one gets 2
Yeah.
instead of 3 and 3.
Yeah.
And I've heard of investor friends, they squeeze them really hard for 4 or even in the 3s. I don't do that because I want them to be happy with what they're making. They're not making the whole, but they're making a good chunk. And plus mines are luxury market. So it really translates in the numbers.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so you're having agents bring you deals.
Yes.
Off-market deals. You don't have to compete with anybody on those because they're off-market, right?
No. And I've closed on any deal that I've put offers in. I'm 100% closing rate. I have 100% closing rate. There's not one deal that I put in an escrow that I wanted to buy a house that I have not closed on.
Oh, so they trust you when you say that. So how many agents do you need to send you deals for you to make what you want to make in a year? It's probably not a lot, is it?
Not a lot. And I have this one brokerage in Palm Springs that those 2 last deals that I just spoke about, they came from one brokerage. The owner of the brokerage, has a slew of agents. And when deals like that come, they call me.
How did you build that relationship with that agent, with that broker, for them to send it to you versus all the other people that are trying to get that deal?
So back in the day before COVID, I used to post everything on Facebook. And I started friending all the agents in the area so they can see what I was doing. And they ended up reaching out to me, or I have this deal, or I have that deal. Well, then we ended up finally doing a deal together because I have everybody sending me deals. And that was the deal. This particular brokerage was the one that brought me the deal that I net $1 million on.
You were creating content on Facebook? You're an OG at this.
Yeah, and it was cheesy and not like I have a lot of followers, right? But I had
Just follow the right followers.
I had the right following. I was following agents. I was following agents all in the area where I was flipping. I created a name for myself.
So let me get this straight. If we were to give your blueprint out, it's, hey, start doing stuff, documenting it, and put it on social media, and start friending real estate agents that have the product that you want, and they're watching you do flips,
right?
Getting to know you. They get a deal, they start sending it to you. Over time, you no longer have to look for deals.
Right.
Your money is going to come from these brokers because these brokers aren't going to stop getting deals.
And then, of course, you have to be honorable, right? And then and then the reputation I've created for myself, and we have 100% close rate. They know they bring me a deal and I like it. They know it's a done deal. And that's hard to keep. But that's what we've done. They know it's going to close.
So let me have
Taking
this
it to another
conversation.
investor
What's that?
versus taking it to another investor.
They know you're gonna close.
Mhm.
So if I want to work with you, and
Mhm.
you said you want to come do luxury in Vegas, if I find deals, we can JV on them.
We can, especially if you find liquidity, right? And I can show you everything what to do in the project. What sells, what won't, what the way it needs to look. I've had people come to me with when they try to get into the luxury market, and the biggest mistake that they make, Ron, they want to put the same finishes
That's
that
what
they
I would,
put.
because we don't know.
You can't do that because that eye is not going to go and pay you millions of dollars for a property that looks something that got done really cheaply, and the properties sit there. They want to put the same materials because they figure they'll have a bigger spread if they spend very little. No, these you have to spend. You have to spend. They're big budgets, but you can make really good money. Just have to know what you're doing. And I hire designers. To this day, I still hire designers. So we can bounce off ideas. So we can do that dance. I design the houses myself and also with a designer, right? Because we're not gonna get into $1 million of debts just hoping that the design will sell, right? So I hire experts that work with me and we work off each other. And at times I feel like, I get I think this is why I call it a passion, because if I'm working on the project, I'm literally obsessed about how this house would look like, what it would look like. And I'm looking for inspiration, and we can do this and we can do that and look at this. And so sometimes I feel like I bring a lot of ideas to the table, even more than our designers. And I basically, at times I've noticed that I basically brought the whole design idea and told them this is what we're doing, right? And kind of bounce it off of them. But you really have to know what you're doing.
So the designer is going to know what to put in here for it to sell based off of what neighborhood are we in. Oh no, we need to do this. And then you work with them and be like, yeah, I've done so many of these. Like, I agree. And
And
that's
then
what
at times I've had my designers, they get a little tired and they want to give me finishes from last year. And that's not the type of business that I want. I want us to be the one bringing in new stuff and better stuff, not something from last year.
wow, even 1 year it changes. You can't.
Yeah, no, you're not going to put the same tile you were putting on your showers last year. Why would you do that? Not on these.
So, like I said, I grew up in a house with the cabinets. They've been there forever. My house now is renovated, but it's with the cheap stuff. It looks good, but it's not very expensive. So,
Right.
like to me, that's a good point because I don't know what to put in there. Um, and they change each year. So if you're
Yeah.
doing a certain design, everyone knows who buys that knows that like, oh, things have changed. This is what's in now.
Yeah.
So it needs to look like this, or I'm not buying it.
Right. It's up and coming.
Trends.
Like somebody who has millions of dollars to spend, they're not gonna want they want something unique. They don't want a house like everybody else's. They want to
Oh,
design in a way where, oh my God, in those price points, you want to impress.
they want to be like, look at this come look at my new house.
Mhm.
It's better than this. That's the new one.
It's a floss.
And those are the best clients to work with are rich people because their budgets will pay for it. If you do it the way we want, we'll pay you for
Right.
it.
But they have an eye for the finishes. So you can't get away with your drywall looking really crappy, right? It has to be smooth walls, level 5, like the best finishes. You can't hire a handyman to come in and do your drywall and then you have texture on the walls. That's unheard of. It's smooth 5 level,
Perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Be looking for some luxury soon.
Yes, yes. Anything you need, I can definitely help you. We've talked with Susie also about doing some luxury flips in Vegas. And so, yeah.
All right. Let's do it. All
Do
right.
you currently use any private money lenders.
For the Gap?
Yeah.
Oh, for Gap, who have I used lately? I haven't flipped it like literally since 2023 because
Mhm.
I didn't like the market the way it was doing it with what I was doing. But yeah, I got some people that's got, 400K. There's several people I know that have it. Yeah. Nothing crazy. I don't have the 2.4 million guy yet.
But you don't need 400K is a good deposit.
Yeah.
You can use, so if you're doing in Vegas, I think in Vegas is not like here. Luxury would be considered maybe 1.2, 1.5, maybe, right?
Yep.
So you can easily use that gap, that money as gap, and do your first flip in the luxury market.
Yeah,
Take
I got that.
take the private money gap and then hard money and do your first luxury flip.
Combine it.
Zero out of your pocket.
Yeah, I definitely you can hear the apprehension of like I ain't doing it by myself. My first one, we got those hard money fees that are due. Those
You can do it with me.
that's
We can do it
20K a
together.
month.
We can partner up. I can show you how I do it. I'll show you my secret recipe and how I do these things.
Yeah, I probably want to be like the deal and money, deal or deal and money, and be like, let's do it. Pay me whatever.
Do it. Let's do it. But you have the resources. Right now, it's just a matter of learning how to do it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. You've helped me out.
Remember, I want to expand to Vegas. So there it is.
Yeah, I don't. And the contractor, I had to lock that on too because I use the good old boys. You know what I mean? The handyman dudes. For some for like what you said, drywall. But I'm doing entry level, so they do a decent job. You're not like wowed, but you're like, yeah, this house is going to sell for 400K, 500K, that kind of stuff. But to get the guys you're talking about, I don't even know. Like, I mean, I do know a couple of those people. I just don't use them.
Right. And I always, anytime I'm interviewing new contractors, I want to see their work.
Go check it out, right?
Their work. Pictures don't tell the story. You have
No,
to see
you
their
can
work.
hide. You can hide a lot in the pictures.
Yeah.
My houses look amazing in the pictures. When you get there, like, well,
Yeah.
counters are a little, I can see the crack.
Uh-huh.
It's all right. Like,
Yeah, you have to see their work.
yeah,
Yeah.
good. All right. I like it.
Yes.
Partnering on the podcast. That's what's going on. Man.
Yes.
This has been awesome. I didn't know, like we've talked before and we've seen each other, but I've never really got to know you. But you're super positive. You've making an impact on me, just me seeing how positive and how your mind thinks. And it makes me want to talk to you more. Is it okay if I call you from time to time just to talk?
Oh, definitely. Please do. Please do. And then when you're ready to do luxury flips, let me know. I'm always happy to partner up or help you or whatever you need. Or, if you want more information about El Salvador, whatever you need, call me. That's what we're here. I mean, who else do we run to if it's not our circle of people, right? And
Mhm.
that's what we do. If I have a question, I also call people that can help me with the answers. We just keep giving back.
Awesome. I love y'all. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All
Oh,
right.
thank you.